Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is June the 1st, 2023 on the ancient moon calendar, 2024 on the ancient sun calendar. And before we begin, I want to start this specific Congressional Assembly by once again giving praise and honor and glory and worship to the matriarchs, to each and every matriarch. None of this would be possible without you. And I'm so glad we don't have to figure out what to do without the matriarchs. Because we're here, we're all here. Islam, all praise, worship, glory, honor, due to the matriarchs, indeed, and her sons, indeed. I find it amazing that the matriarchs birth other matriarchs. More source. And our sons, of course, are the source. But this is specific to the matriarchs today, just because I'm feeling that in my spirit. That when we first woke up, many of the meetings that we went to acknowledged the patriarchy, and we did not resist that. We went along with that because it was due. The praise was due. We want to do the same with the matriarchs and our congressional assemblies here, where we start the Congressional Assembly out today with giving the matriarch far less than she's due, but stating, because the matriarch is due praise, honor, and glory and worship, nunc pro tunc, now for then, into perpetuity and since time immemorial. So we just want to put that on the record. We want to make sure we make that known to all the matriarchs. Islam, all rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. This is a sovereign living ancient, Article 3, Moorish American Al-Moroccan court action. We are the sovereign living justices. I am Sovereign Living Justice Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capit et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal natural head and body for our empires. All Moors are the original indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient empire state for Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today we are exercising the law by our sovereign status, which is the original indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient Article 3 living United States District for Columbia Court. And we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees, ministers, possessors, and the titled beneficiaries for this cause for action. We are peace. We are one nation. We're one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign ascension. We've issued a universal creditor's bill for possession, liquidation, and custody over all land, all resources, both natural and national, all commerce and all other property. We, the one true God nation, are not at war, and we hereby exercise all eternal, ancient, original, sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc. Islam. Um, so with that being stated, let's do just a little bit of housekeeping and then we'll get right into the first thing we want to state is that we will begin our 3-day full moon national fast tomorrow, which will be June the 2nd, June the 3rd, and June the 4th. So the full moon will be in June, at June the 2nd. I'm sorry, the 3rd. It's the 3rd. Apologies. And so the day before and the day after and the day of is when we will be doing our 3-day cleansing fast. And again, fast in the manner that you are led by your spirit. If your spirit has led you to fast from negative energy or from sugar or from food altogether, or however your spirit leads you to fast. If your spirit leads you to fast from negative words coming out of your mouth, because we are deprogramming and reprogramming ourselves. And so to spend 3 days absolutely conscious of every word that proceeds out of your mouth, because you are God. And in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word is God. And so we know that we're casting and breaking spells as we go. Every word is a spell. Every word is a spell. And so we want to ensure that we are casting and breaking spells in the way that we want, desire for it to be, instead of haphazardly and just randomly casting spells, not realizing that the words that we state are indeed causing things to happen. So, indeed, Islam. And with that being stated, the principles that we share are not our opinion. Along with our sovereign, powerful demonstrations and study, these processes that we share are based on principles of stare decisis, res judicata, ancient positive supreme law for the land long established in sovereign order. Erudite principles and processes for daily practical application to intelligently govern our vast estate every day is what our ancient ancestors have given us to share with the ancient sovereign nations, tribes, clans, states, and governments at earth. And for this, we are grateful. We receive, actually, during our last Congressional Assembly, we showed a chart. Just one moment. Let's show that chart again so that we can have a look at it really quickly. We showed this chart, and the chart is just a summary of the things that we had done in the last, since 2017 up to now, to include the time that the corpses and the dead were being put in their grave, because that's what lockdown was. It was the burial of the dead. So we showed some things that happened on the dead side, such as high inflation, banking collapse, complete capitulation to this government, Federal Reserve debt notes invalid, supply lines declined or completely cut off, inferior products fading away in favor of natural products being put on the shelves, no authority at all, no services at all, absent, abandoning all claims, muted universally, bottom read instruments invalid, and they were invalid from day one, so that's nothing new. Animal husbandry halted by the heirs because it had to be halted with us first, and no sources to feed from. Are some of the things that were being done with regard to the to this government. And then on our side, and actually at the land of the living and the land for the living, the things that happened with regard to this government and our monumental growth. More heirs nationalized today than at any time since the previous 9 to 13 generations and more. Greatest forward-thinking progress towards 100% nationalizing of all heirs. Universal Article 3 courts in full operation with the highest number of rulings issued since before 1956. More Article 3 rulings forthcoming since ancient Rome. Activated the fastest manifestation of constitutional courts as witnesses to Article 3 rulings since ancient Rome. Placed the most extensive superior universal commercial code 1 lien on all fraudulent entities in written history. Activation of the long-standing gold standard. The largest gold instrument placed on the public record at $666 trillion gold dollars. That's going to be important as we move through this Congressional Assembly. Activated the largest wealth manifestation ever. Publicly, and some call that wealth manifestation a wealth transfer. Okay, it can be called a wealth transfer from the custodians and from escrow to the heirs, to the entitled beneficiaries, which is all of us. Publicly created the first gold money system, currently issuing and circulating more sovereign dollarium gold receipts. And that's a little bit of a misnomer. It's not the first because it's all, since time immemorial, gold receipts have been our money, and gold has been our money. More sovereign dollarium is where the first came in at, but there has been money in the past called dollarium. And we found that out after we had put that particular proclamation on the public record. We looked back, and dollarium was issued at ancient Rome in the past, long before, and this is thousands of years prior. We began banking among the nations to quickly overtake all other transactions and systems with the highest amount per exchange antiquity. So, and that's the point that we wanted to make in reviewing what we went over the last time. With regard to the requests, the thousands of requests that we've had for more sovereign dollarium, it says quickly engulfed all other commodities exchanges via the Al-Moroccan American Exchange, which is the New York Stock Exchange. It includes the New York Stock Exchange. With regard to dollarium and the exchanges, just one request for more sovereign dollarium via email contains more than $1 trillion in that one exchange. So everyone who has sent an email stating that they would like some more sovereign dollarium sent to them, we sent it to them, and in that one exchange, because that's called supply and demand, it's called supply and demand, and when we sent them dollarium, it contained over $1 trillion in dollarium. So when you add up all of the email requests for dollarium that were sent by our nation, And then our government's response to the government, because you all are the government, we're all the government. Those exchanges were over $1 trillion each. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of times where dollarium has been given. Many of you sent out dollarium from your emails. And so when we state that we have placed the highest number, money-wise, of gold and gold exchanges on the public record, that is absolute truth. And that is the dollarium requests are in addition to the $666 trillion gold instrument that we placed on the public record in 2019. So, and I believe it was 2018 that we put the 666 trillion. Might have been, it was 2019. So, we are the wealthiest nation at earth, the wealthiest nation at earth. And all we're doing now is just walking that out, using our system to navigate and to go through our system and access the things that belong to us. So with that being stated, we did again talk about the request, the dollarium, the exchange, because those are considered electronic funds transfers. When we send dollarium by email, it is officially an electronic funds transfer. Now, when we send it by email, they're not autographed by the heirs, but it is still considered an exchange because the request is made, and then the supply and demand is met. Okay, and we can all take credit for that, all of us. So those who, if you've not received more sovereign dollarium via email, if you would put your email in the chat, and we will get more sovereign dollarium sent to you. Okay. Noble Phoenix, I sent it to your email. I did send that document to your email. And then another email that was similar to yours came up, and I sent it there also, just in case. So I'm not sure why it hasn't been received. So when the government sends the more sovereign dollarium, we don't sign it. The heirs will sign it. Those who request it and receive it will sign it, will autograph it. And I'm just taking down the emails that are requesting more sovereign dollarium. Now, I want to bring up something really quickly regarding the word black and the color black. That word and that color has been demonized and vilified, and we definitely helped with that. We have no regrets about that, and we will continue to state that we are not black because we're not adjectives. Okay, we're not adjectives. We are nouns. We're gods, actually. So I've unmuted the meeting and so, or taken it out of lecture mode rather, so that we can all discuss whatever our subject matter for today. Justice Tonis, would you unmute for just a moment? We want to make sure that is you.
Islam, that's me.
Putting the question in the chat. Okay.
Yes,
and that question. Me. Okay. So we won't put that information out over this particular venue.
Okay.
If you would, Justice Howard can assist you with that.
Okay, though.
Okay.
Does he have my email?
He can even inbox you.
Okay.
Here on this forum.
All right. This is Justice Minister Tonis Alajabe, working agent for the receivership of the annulment of the United States and the head of the Department of Justice for the Moorish Republic Federal Government.
Islam.
Ernest Burrell McGill and I are going to take some actions. We're going to submit it to the matriarch first, but we have several actions that are happening. One is that we have a bank. You're going to hear more about that. We also have a jail if we want it, but these are basically just seizures that I put in place. Indemnifier made the allodial document, challenged theirs. They said nothing. We're at that point now. So these things, and we're going to film them too when it's done. So I'm not going to give you more details. And I've done this from a hospital bed. I'm in the hospital right now. They tried to get me, but it didn't work. So I'm going to get off right now. And Empress, thank you so much for your guidance. I've been feeling and hearing what you're saying. So, and I'm demonstrating from my level of ability and awareness.
Indeed.
I've claimed my rights as a Khalifian emperor to extract the debris from the environment.
Islam.
And thanks for letting me be of service, and I'll get back to you later. And to all of you Moors out there, get busy. It's time to take it back. Let's go.
Yes, indeed.
Islam.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Justice Tonis. We honor your work. Thank you so much for all that you are doing for our great nation, even from where you are. Indeed. Our bodies are changing. The frequency of the earth is changing. And so it is having an effect on some of the areas as the frequencies rise. And so we do want to state that Moors, please, 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 please drink lots of water, because drink lots of water, and if you can, which I know you can because you're God,
swirl it first.
Basic, yes, indeed, that is key too. Hold the water in your mouths and for at least 30 to 60 seconds, and then deal with it from there. But make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Get as close to a gallon a day as you can, if not more. For those who can drink more water than that, do so, because that's going to assist you as the frequencies of the earth rise. The air is changing, the earth, the land, everything is changing, because we have absolutely done away with all of that old, listen, every place that had smog, heavy smog, that smog has dissipated for the most part. Because our land, because we're awake, our land is the frequency is rising. And so it is going to have an effect on our bodies. So Justice Azizi, that is a brilliant. He says, speak life into your water. Yes, indeed. And we did not put that in the chat. I don't know who put that in the chat. So with regard to, I'm not familiar with the links that are being put in the chat, but if you all check the link and it's something, just delete it. Just delete it. There are some who don't have a platform unless they come here, and they want to usurp a platform, and we're not going to let that happen. But we are all the watchmen. With that being stated, during this time, fasting is going to be important. Even if you just cut down on the amount of food that you take in, if you didn't grow the food yourself, just cut down on it as much as you can, and and increase your water intake. That's going to be very, very, very important. And for those who can go out to the saltwater bodies and pull some water and boil it down to the salt, that would actually be highly suggested that you make your own sea salt so that you can use that instead of any of the other things that were previously out there. So with that being stated, I was talking about the word black. Black is an adjective. We are not black. But we know that there is duality in everything that we've been hearing. There's a sovereign ancient side to it, and then there's the fraudulent, hypothecated, fake stuff from the last era that the corpses were talking about. When we were asleep and calling ourselves black, we were enacting being the dead, which meant that the dead actors were protected and fertile and quote unquote born again with souls in the cemeteries. Okay, and this is where this came from, where as long as we were thinking we were blacks and Negroes and colored and African American instead of who we really are, then that actually gave life to they enacted getting life from us. They were dead zombies from day one and always were. But they were enacting getting life from us, and here's why. Anubis, which is an ancient Egyptian god, took the form of a black jackal, or rarely in an anthropomorphic form of a man with the head of a jackal. Jackals were seen frequently around cemeteries, threatening to exhume the dead. Thus, they were linked to Anubis. Now, jackals do that, but Anubis does not. The color black to the Egyptians from ancient times was associated with rebirth and fertility due to the color of the soil in the Nile River. Black was also the color of protection. But again, not us being black, but things and property being black. Anubis is depicted on the walls of several tombs of the pharaohs to protect their souls in the afterlife and guard their tombs. Okay? So again, we just have to know where all of that came from and know that, again, we're not black. Things can be adjectives. The living is not an adjective. We are the living. Okay? And so there's someone pretending to be light in the chat. So but we've removed them. So again, this is where the dead corpse world decided that they were going to use our ancient knowledge, enacted that they were going to use it because they couldn't really do it. They just acted like they could. They're actors. And they were going to use that to see if we would accept the status of black, because black is a property status. That means property can be black. I can have a black chair. Soil can be black. And they chose black because it was related to the soil, or just soleil. We talked about just soleil status. Okay? And so we wanted to bring that to your attention because, again, we are not black. The soil under the water is black and rich in minerals, silt, natural resources, etc. So because we're not soil in that manner, we are the land. And so that's completely different from being an adjective. Okay, so in the land of the living, at the land of the living, which we've all created, black is good, except that you still can't say I'm black like that and think that that's a status and a nationality, because it's not. Okay. We are the majority on the land. That's another. And moving on in our Congressional Assembly, we've been hearing some spells. So not only are we not black, but we are also the majority on this land. In fact, there are no dead corpses on our land. None. None. There can't be, because this is the land for the living. Okay? So,
Sasha is getting gangbanged in a Jamaica jail, but that's okay because she's just being tested, right?
And so, now, let's go further with that. Let us be clear that we love everyone. Okay, we've stated that we love everyone on the land, the living. You know, we love all of our creation. And so, continuing on with us and our truth, we're not black, we're not dead, and the dead are not with us. Everyone is living, including our ancestors. So no matter what you look like or where you come from, we love you. Our goal was to completely remove all fraudulent debt fiat images and illusions from our vast estate. Just like the story of Yeshua attorneying or turning over the tables of the money changers. There are certain ideologies that attached to the debt fiat system that were part of that same mission. So when we said we're going to completely remove all fraudulent debt from our land, there are ideologies that come with that must be that are removed as well. We have obtained the visions that we sought, and now our job is to continue pressing in on our own systems, leaning in on the continued removal, and enjoying our vast estate at the same time. A few things to remember: those who are calling the brown-skinned Moors, Negroes, blacks, coloreds, and African Americans are not even talking to us. They're not talking to us. They are not even in the same jurisdiction. They are in the wrong meeting, as there are no Negroes, blacks, coloreds, and African Americans present, except and I can't even say except those using those terms to describe people, because they're not with us either. So we'll just take that out. Now, we have been stating in the past on some of our past meetings, and all along we've been discussing about how they're not talking to us. They're not talking to us. There's no need to respond. And some people, because they can hear words coming from the dead cemetery, trying to speak into the land for the living, they think, oh, you all are trying to act like they're not there. No, that's not why we don't respond. That's not why we don't respond. We don't respond because there can be two people seemingly appearing to sit in the same courtroom, and all of our land is a court, by the way. And one of them will be in hell and the other one will be in heaven. Why? Because of what they know and what they demonstrate and who they are. Who they are is a matter of what you demonstrate and who you demonstrate that you are. So let me show you and the main reason why we do not respond to anyone. We don't respond to anyone from the dead, those dead cemeteries. Because some feel the need. They think you should be doing this and that with regard to court, subjects in the office of court jester coming into meetings and blah, 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 blah. You should be doing this, that. Listen carefully. Regarding the need or obligation to respond to subjects pretending to be court jesters, if you go to the word debt in Black's Law Dictionary, a debt is an obligation arising otherwise than by sentence. Sentence is speaking some words. That's what a sentence is. A sentence is speaking some words. So a debt is an obligation arising otherwise than by sentence by a court for a breach of the public peace or for crime. In a broad sense, any duty to respond to another in money, labor, or service is defined as debt. Any duty to respond to another in money, labor, and service is a debt. That's why we don't respond when they start running their mouths. That's why. That's why. Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. It is on the internet. We don't have a duty or an obligation to respond, especially to buffoonery. And then some have stated in the past, and we've heard these statements in the past, where they say that if you argue with a fool, that makes you a fool too. If you argue with the incompetent, that makes you incompetent because they're not even on your level of thinking. Islam nobility.
I would imagine, of course, that does not include when we are exercising justice on the land. Case in point, I'm in the process of we just finished a court action earlier today. I did two today.
Beautiful.
Some of the empresses who were on the line witnessed that as well.
Beautiful.
And in completing those, I realized that there is still more work to be done afterwards, after I hold that.
Mm-hmm.
One of which was the UCC filing, our Universal Commercial Code Lien one.
Yes.
That was done on one case, but not on the other. So I'll rectify that. But then, in terms of advising, informing.
Yes.
The lower court, inferior court, with a writ of prohibitio in this case. Because the judgment has already been handled, I have to still finish restating that it's not complete. because
Indeed.
everything I found out there was jargon and legalese, and so it needs to be totally worked out. So I'm working on that for this particular action. But
Yes.
then not only that, but I'm doing a restraining order because this is involving an heir, being threatened by policy
Mm-hmm.
enforcers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do all of those to affect what needs to happen for the protection of the heir.
Mm-hmm.
So any insight, if someone has already done something like that already, I would love to be able to commune with them and discuss it with them.
So it is according to the Circle 7 that we assist our brothers and sisters. The thing is, we cannot protect them with our documents. They must stand because they're sovereigns. So all that you've done is necessary. They need to do it too for themselves, in addition to what you've done, and in agreement with what you've done. Because where 2 or 3 witnesses agree, let every word be established. When there's agreement. So what you've done is necessary.
Yeah, and if it's eviction day, they will and have the authority to put hands on unless you.
And so, again, it is necessary to do what you've done. They must be able to stand on what they state in case you're not there. Okay. So here's the thing with regard to your question about what we're doing. We're not responding to anyone. We're actually stating the law on the land because no one was able to do that but us. We're the only ones that were on the land. So who are we responding to? No one.
On that matter, on that point, I have to say I have a much keener, after going through this and studying, doing the requisite study of this entire process.
Yes.
The court action from Article 3, what we've already put in place, the foundation that was laid, and on top of that, we do the court action and even the after court action for the levy and taking of the land, and then the commandments afterwards that. So it's not just doing the court action, but then it's the after action as well that completes the whole process. What I saw was something very beautiful because I read in that UCC commercial code something that I must have overlooked or it just appeared while I was gone for a while because it wasn't there a long time ago. Forgive me. And when I saw what was written towards the end of that and the language that was used, I was like, oh my God, this connects with that and connects with this over here. And I'm like, this is wonderful.
Indeed.
So I am just proud of what we've accomplished and what has been established as a foundation for us to work from. And I just encourage all the heirs to do that study, to really, really ponder scholarly all of that has been written. And if you feel you need to add more to it, then so do so. You have the absolute inherent right to do just that, to speak as what comes out of your spirit. And of course, I've been doing that on, my documents as I need to. But I just have to commend everyone for what we have in our hands right now.
Indeed.
Please utilize it, study it, digest it, get your understanding going. Because man, I'm telling you, woo.
We're very powerful. Yeah, we're very powerful. Very powerful. All powerful. We are all powerful. Indeed. Thank you, Noble Phoenix. So, any duty to respond to another in money, labor, or service. Now, we have a responsibility to each other to properly govern the vast estate. So when we're sending out delarium and things like that, remember that, just one moment, there's a little bit of noise coming from somewhere. Okay. Remember, this is the definition of debt. We don't have debt on our land, and they don't have money. So when we send delarium out onto the land, then that's just a credit going from one place to another. Because even when we write things off, it's a credit to us. Okay? And so we don't have obligations, we have entitlements. So the word obligation is not really applicable to us. Anytime you see the word obligation, change it to entitlement, and when you see debt, change it to credit. And the definition will be a lot more clear as to who we really are. A credit is an entitlement arising otherwise than by sentence by a court for keeping the peace, the public peace, and for no crime being committed. That's how we would restate that definition. So that's why we don't respond to. Now, there's a difference between responding and giving a command and doing a court action, because some corpse and some subject and whatever is attempting, some corpse is attempting to act. See, when you do a court action because someone's acting, that's not a response. That's actually, it's similar to usurpation, except it's stepping up above. And we're above all of that nonsense anyway, but the court actions assist us in stating the truth of who we are. And it's no worries if you've already used the term obligation, no worries. Nunc pro tunc on everything that we do. So the next time you do it, just change that out. We've had to go back and change some things as well. But look here at this is from Black's Law 4th edition online. It says that the word debt has no fixed legal meaning, but takes shades of meaning from the occasion of its use. So what is debt really when there's no fixed legal meaning? You know why there's no fixed legal meaning? Because we never had debt anyway in the first place. There's no such thing as debt for us. That's why there's no fixed legal meaning. Because at any time, if debt is running around, we can restate it, and then the credit appears.
We are the creditors.
So how does a creditor have debt when there's no fixed legal meaning for the word debt? But there's a fixed legal meaning for credit, and creditors, and sovereigns, and indigenous, and original, and ancient, and bloodline and birthright, and Al-Moroccan and Moorish America. There are fixed meanings for those, and we're the ones who state those fixed meanings. No one else has the authority to do so. So with that being stated, keep in mind, heirs, the word port when we're talking about wordplay, and this is on another matter, but not really. Deport, report, and port, and portal. And important. Okay? That word, just know that we are the actual portals for everything else. Where everything is determined by by where we are. Okay? And that has been an area of a little bit of confusion in the nation, where Moors think that there's some place, when in reality that place doesn't exist except the Moor is there. So wherever we go, that determines where everything around us is. This domicile is at ancient Morocco. And what I did not realize until I woke up is that even that exchange that took place at ancient Morocco, but it was not the proper exchange for the land. And so we have to go back now. We've gone back now and non-proton fixed that exchange. Okay. So there's some more, some say that, and some say that you can use private script to settle public debt. Whose private script? Because script is a military term, just like scripture is a military term. That's why the Bible always talks about wars and armies, the army of Gideon, the Amalekites, and so on and so forth. Script and scripture those are military terms. Whether that military term is a peace term or a war term is the question. It's not really the question for us. We're at peace. We're not at war. We have nothing. There's nothing to war about with us. So,
Islam?
yes.
Reason I mentioned that, because the brother asked, if we were to send delirium to corporate persons to settle debt, etc. Obviously, we don't owe them. That's not really the issue. The issue is, in my humble opinion, the reason that they exchange debt notes is because they don't have any money. And remember, the entire reason, or not the entire reason, but the whole pretext was that there is no real gold because they are not the true creditors and owners of the land. That's number one. That's an established fact. But then the overlay is that in the meantime, until the heirs wake up, we don't have any lawful money. So we're going to use this commercial script written by private international bankers, okay, called the Federal Reserve. Now, of course, they just made all this stuff up because they didn't have nothing of substance either. They made it all up. Therefore, what is the promise to pay that's shown on their Federal Reserve notes? The promise to pay and the so-called contract with the New Deal was when lawful money comes back, when real gold and silver is back on the land, which they would never do that because they can't. We had to do that.
Yes.
And that is what we must understand as our awakening with the delirium. We are bringing back what they could never do. They would have kept this going indefinitely because they never could until we woke up and said, wait a minute, we need lawful money back on our lands, backed by gold and silver. They took it away for the corporate citizens. That's why they had to make everyone a corporate citizen, to take them out of their proper status. So that's what was going on. Now we got to grab the ship, control the rudder, and determine how we're going to move on our own lands. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
In that illustration. But obviously our ships are not on land. But you get my...
The water is on the land, though.
The water is on the land.
Admiralty is on the land.
Yes.
Our admiralty is moored to the land. Yeah.
Yes. So, but that's how we're going to moor and anchor ourselves and the future heirs as well. because we've rolled out this lawful money, which is backed by our full faith and credit. When I read through all that, yesterday over this past week, it just really settled in on me what we were really communicating from the Spirit. And it's really heavy, but yet it's uplifting at the same time. Okay,
yes,
so that's why I encourage everyone, read through these documents. It's taken me a while to get through some of these because y'all were busy while I was gone, and I'm grateful because I can just take and pick those up and read through, study, and then I can innovate from there and create. So gracious, gratitude.
Indeed.
Islam, may I add something to that?
Sure, Islam.
Well, it's just an example of everything that's stated and just backing up what we say, something for our little fans on the call too. Dave Ramsey's being sued for $150 million by his former fans who followed his timeshare advice. And also, Target stocks fall for 9th day after Pride merch backlash. So this is just proof of everything we're saying. Their system's done for. It's our time again. So I just wanted to add to that. If anyone needs some more proof, outside of other countries backing out and using their own currency again. So that's always an example as well.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Empress. Let me clarify just a couple of things too. We do not send dolarium to corpses. We send it to subjects. How do we know the difference between a corpse and a subject? We will have leaned the corpse covering off of the subject. Because, see, our subjects had a corporate covering over them that they could not remove for themselves. We had to wake up and remove it. We had to wake up and remove it. Let me tell you something about those that were previously doing business as policy enforcers. Those that were previously doing business as policy enforcers were, when the corporate covering is removed off of them, then they become subject to the Moors. But the Moors are the only ones who can remove that corporate covering, and we've done it many times, and we're going to continue to state that on the public record. Then they become subjects to the Moors. When they become subjects to the Moors, then our inheritance, and they're currently subjects to the Moors. Then our inheritance, there's a little bit of an open line somewhere. I can't really see where that is. Then they become assistant and serving to the Moors. They work for the Moors. Let me put it that way because that's a better term. They work for the Moors. Having said that, the testing that we've all either been through or are going through or will go through with regard to police rather, and subjects on the land, that process is so that the prophecy can be fulfilled. What is the prophecy that would have anything to do with any of that? The prophecy states that we would be given the societies as our inheritance. It's in the Biblios. They talk about having the children of Israel having the nations for their inheritance. Well, that was enacted last era. The last era, we were working and serving, quote unquote. We were serving everywhere, all over the land. We all had jobs, quote unquote, and we were enacting as if this wasn't our estate, but that we were workers and servants on the estate. No matter what level we were at, we were still serving. And that's where the servant is worthy of his hire came from. So now, the testing is put in place so that we are not afraid of our subjects, because they are our inheritance. The estate is ours already, and so are they. But we cannot be afraid of them because they're subjects. That is where, quote unquote, protect and serve came from. They're subjects and servants and workers for us. And so, for example, some of us, during our testing, we were surrounded by those, quote unquote, policy enforcers. I can't even give them that office because that's not their office. Surrounded by them, and then they would arrest and take and detain and do those things. That was to show where we were with the fear factor, quote unquote. Where were we with the fear factor? Because we cannot be afraid of our subjects. We can't. We must be able to command them without reservation, without wavering. Command them and know that they will do as commanded. And so that, yes, I can unlock the meeting. So, the fear was to keep us from claiming what's properly ours. All that is on this land right this moment is ours. It is for us and for our use, for our unlimited use. Unlimited use and enjoyment. Enjoyment. Okay? And sometimes, whether we want to admit it or not, we're afraid of them. Sometimes, more. I'm not, because I've been there and done that. But it took me to go through the testing to not be afraid. And so again, we cannot be afraid of that which we've inherited. One of the empresses that I was speaking with yesterday gave the most beautiful example. She made, as we were discussing that very thing right there, the empress gave the example of someone getting a dog and being afraid of their own dog because they hadn't properly trained their dog. And I'm not saying that our subjects are dogs. I'm using that as an analogy for clarification purposes. And you can enjoy having that service or those works, those public works available. So now we know what the testing is all about. And it's going to happen, so please don't just say, don't even come with all that, she shouldn't have to be going through that. No.
Empress Phoenix, you still haven't realized you're only part of Polly's.
Okay. Don't come with that. Our strength is coming by way of our inheritance. Because there's going to come a time, and I didn't say friendly and just he. I didn't say any of that. Because you can't he with a giant dog, not knowing what that dog's reaction is going to be. And I'm using that in the sense of animal husbandry. You have a Rottweiler, but you're afraid of them, and they're running the house. No. Oh. That's our inheritance too. Because we put the office there. The sheriff's office, the chief of police office, or chief for police office. The governor, this, that, those are our offices. Make no mistake about it. Secretary for State, those are our offices. We cannot fear our inheritance, and guess what? We cannot be ignorant of their responsibility, so we have to know their job too, and the processes for accessing the estate by way of our offices. That's why they enacted hiring millions of people to do quote-unquote government work, executive, legislative, and judicial work. So we must know the processes. And the processes, it's not like listen, you can know the processes and govern them properly, or you can drown in them. And you don't want to do that. And you won't. Because the ancestors have a way of getting the information into our spirits when we're calm and peaceful and patient. Calm, peaceful, and patient. This is our inheritance we're talking about. So just continue to report for your duty, as it were. Report every morning. Report. Throughout the day, report. That means remain in the portal, the right portal. Know where you are, because where you are is where everything around you is, including the subjects. Okay? So with that being stated, just one moment. Just one moment. Okay. So, having said that, are there any questions, comments, wisdom from this great Congressional Assembly?
Islam.
Islam nobility.
Yes, I just want to make a statement.
Uh-huh.
What you just said, it brings a lot of so much awareness to exactly how to step into our offices and execute the duties and responsibilities, because we just actually came up with a memorandum to actually command those subjects in our offices. And we're doing the proper processes, like you said, like we're learning. We're not learning. We're conditioning ourselves on the duty that they're supposed to carry out, the jewelry, and it's coming along great because I'm learning more. It's like the more I read and the more I know, it's the more I know how to execute properly the memorandums to our subjects, so they can do their duty to us, and govern with righteousness, instead of the arguing and fear and like it's no fear here. Like we it's like when the subjects see me now in the street, they took their hats now. Before they was roaring because they didn't know who I was, but once I let myself be known and go out every day in my garb, now they tip their hats, and I have people like stopping me in the street and saying, "Hey man, keep up the good work." It's like they know. It's like they're watching. They know the work that we're doing. They're saying, "Hey, keep up the good work. I like what you're doing. We know, we see." So they're like letting us know at the same time, the ancestors and the subjects and I know about the Moors, even the Moors that were sleeping.
Oh, come on. Where's y'all's conveyances or anything that you've commanded? You haven't gotten shit. Cell phone service,
Go ahead, Nobility.
Yeah, and like I said, the subjects, they're congratulating us. That right there just let you know that's a congratulation right there. I laugh when I hear them because we love our subjects. We know they're still, children at the end of the day.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, and we love them. No, don't let.
And we love when you think you can actually get it.
Go ahead, Nobility.
Yes, we love them, and I want to tell all the Moors that I love them, and I love you too, Empress, for doing what you're doing, and to all the Moors to keep doing your work. Don't like Empress said, keep reporting. As long as you keep reporting.
I don't love them, man. I don't love them. I'm
going to
tell you the
That's
truth.
all right.
It's all right. But just keep doing your reporting.
I don't love them, man. I don't love them.
Okay. Justice Akil, thank you. Okay.
Well, just keep reporting and doing your duty, and then you'll see everything fall right into place. Islam, that's all I have to say.
Islam. Justice Akil, I'm gonna have to ding you on that one.
I know, but
yeah, I am.
I know how you.
You don't have to love them.
I'm just being real right now because I'm not on that level yet.
Yeah, and that's good. That's cool.
Sometimes people should be real, instead of, I'm just saying, I'm just talking for me. I'm not on that level yet, so I don't love them. You know what I mean? Because I feel as though that our ancestors suffered a whole lot, and I know the ones that was actually suffering wasn't saying I love them. You know what I mean? If anything, they was coming after them. Using voodoo to knock them off. You know what I'm saying? Like the Haitian Revolution. We don't love them all the time. We don't.
If I may.
Let me just say this about that. Justice Phoenix, hold on for just a moment. Let me just say this about that. And don't take this the wrong way.
This guy always disrespecting you, and it's like my mom's.
Justice
if somebody say something to your moms, you going in their mouth. And this guy is not a man to be talking to you that way all the time. I'm tired of that.
Bring your energy down, Nobility. Bring it down. Bring it down. We honor your energy. We honor the concern.
He just needs somebody to punch him dead in his mouth. That's all to it. Because he wouldn't be man enough to say that to any of the men that's on this live straight to their face. He wouldn't do it.
Justice Akil, please. Please calm down. They're going to get.
He's interrupting.
Hold on a minute.
People
Okay.
trying to learn. We trying to learn here. We ain't trying to hear that stuff.
Justice Akil, they're going to get so many energy bits from what you just put out there. They're going to just really celebrate today.
Well, I mean, that don't happen every live. I'm just doing it today.
Okay. All right.
It's our turn sometime to vent. Can we vent sometime?
It's good to do that in your private space. That's good to do it in your private space. Venting here is about the law. Okay.
But he be totally disrespecting you. Totally.
No, he's not, because he's not talking to me.
Islam.
I'm not his corpse. And I never will be. So now, this is the point that I wanted to make. Noble Phoenix, you were going to say something, and then Nobility, you were going to say something as well.
Yes, I understand I understand the emotional state my brother feels towards protecting our empresses. I understand that desire to protect them, okay? However, any protection you can do physically is so limited when we can allow the ancestors, we can allow the Spirit of the Most High to intervene from that higher level and can do so much more to rid us of the situation that created and allows them to have that type of energy in the first place, of disrespecting. And it will be, and it is being attuned and adjusted to right now. One other thing I want to share about love. We have a very limited scope viewpoint of what love is. How is it that the Bible says that the Most High, that they said is all love, and yet it says he hates this people, but he loves that people? How is that possible? Because the natural law of the universe kicks in here that most of us were not aware of. It's simple. There's a fine line between love and hate. Why? Because it's the same vibrational frequency. It's just like water. Water is either hot or it's cold, but it's still water. Even if it's frozen, it's still water. Love, same thing. It's just different degrees. So when when it says the Most High hated this one but loved that one, it just simply meant degree. So when he hated someone, it was you loved them less. So my brother, what I'm saying to him, you don't have to love him to where you want to hold him in your arms. But you love based on principle, okay, that the Most High allowed that one to even be alive, to be calling in, okay? But you may love them less, but you don't have to love them with open arms, with a heart wide open. That's not the same. But love them less. It's not hate, it's love less. But it's the same vibrational frequency. That's what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Nobility. There was another noble who was going to speak as well.
Islam, Travis Bay, Michigan territory. This goes to all Moors. Bad fruit falls on its own. It don't need no help. And we all on here learning. And when you're learning, one of the things you need to do is keep your emotions in check. That's going to help you in your paperwork. That's going to help you in making decisions on how to move. I know things get frustrated because we in our lower selves. We got to rise to our higher self. That's why we're here. That's why our paperwork doing what it's doing. That's why we're getting the responses we're getting worldwide. So I know, don't let your emotions overpower your thinking. We a thinking man. That's why we God man, clothed in flesh. So check our emotions at the door. We've been told this time and time and time, and it is hard for me. We all have suffered something along the way, and some of us going to suffer some more. But at the same time, check your emotions so you can think clearly. Islam.
Islam. You know, Islam, Nobility.
I wanted to share a hadith that I learned during my studies. It's about a noble that was getting bad mouthed by some Jews as he was sitting down, and the prophet was sitting down in front of him watching him take it. Okay, and he was getting bad mouthed by the Jews, and they was cursing him out, and they was cursing his noble out until he got up and said something in anger, and then the prophet got up and left him. When he went later on that day to talk to the prophet, like, hey, prophet, why did you get up and leave? He said to him, he said, when the Jew was bad mouthing you, the ancestors was interceding, was fighting on your behalf, and then once you said something and responded, they left you. So I left. Islam.
Islam Empress. Thank you, nobility. Islam Empress.
I would like to share in a way that's productive and constructive and timely and in order. And
Islam.
That said, I'm literally fighting back tears right now. I'm so heavy, and I honor what you said, Light, about the proper venue. Those weren't your exact words, I'm paraphrasing. And I want to honor that. I would also, in addition to that, like to say that everybody is operating in their timing. Everyone is operating at their capacity and at their levels that they have the capacity to operate within. And everything that is shared via this venue can be learned from. We are all sovereign, and we are all at different emotional places. We all have different intellect. We all have different IQs. We all have different emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. But so all that to say is that, like, when there are those of us who rage against the sun and who are just fed up, I get it, and I can relate to it, because I promise I feel that way today. I could not wait for you to get into this doggone Congressional Assembly. Because before you get here, it is chaos. But, like, I get, I'm not there either yet. But and I honor, I'm not there. I didn't use the words. I didn't say. I didn't share that sentiment, but it's there. And then I hear Phoenix say about love and hate being the same thing, just different degrees. I get that. And so I say all that to say this is, even when we are raging against the sun, and then we all want to chime in and give our 2 cents and our 88 cents, I hear that too, and there's place and space for it all, because there's ebb and flow, and we have, I don't want to say what we have to do. I'm taking note that there's ebb and flow with everything, and when we are, some of us are high and the other of us are low, that's going to be a universal truth. But what I know to be fact is that we can learn from it all, because I just learned something from what Phoenix said, but I also carry the same sentiment that was shared before. I promise you I do.
Yes, indeed.
And when I hear about love on and hate and who it's directed to in these congressional assemblies, I keep my peace to honor the venue. But I share the sentiments, but also I hear the education and the wisdom in what Phoenix said, and there's space and there's room for it, and I value and I appreciate that there's space in this venue for us to learn from and to hear from and to grow, where we're ready to grow.
Yeah.
When we're ready to receive. And Noble, I hear you, because I'm not there either. But Phoenix, I hear you too, and I want to be there. And Light, I hear you every single time I'm here.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you all for this venue, because it encourages me. And I'm in the Louisiana Republic, territories and dominions, and when I feel alone here and I don't have other nobles here to hold my hand or to give me a hug, to be that, checking my emotions is not, that's not the move every time, every day. We don't have it. We don't have that capacity every single time. And the buttons can't always be turned off. I can't turn mine off today. I can keep myself from not being emotional now. So sometimes it's not going to work. Some of us are going to be piped up. Some of us are going to be at different degrees. Our natal chart says that about us. Some of us are going to be...
You're fading in and out, Empress.
Forgive me. Some of us are going to be piped up. We're all built at different degrees per our natal chart. So some of us are going to be easy, and some of us got smoke, like Peter, for everybody. And I am in the retrograde of that space. I'm retrograding from you can get it if I got time today. But at the same time, I want to honor my nobility. I want to honor my fellow nobles, and I want to say that, give us, be easy with us sometimes, because sometimes checking our emotions, it ain't that we can't. We don't got it. But I still put in my liens. I still try to be active, but sometimes I don't have it emotionally, and I can't call it emotionally. But I'm not going to quit. In the days that I feel like quitting, I pull up here, and I pull up to the nobles, and I pull up to my fellow Moors to get encouragement and to be edified and to be uplifted. But when I feel alone, I promise this it's so necessary to be here, and so fulfilling and moving, and my writs and my affidavits and my liens since I've started to fellowship with you.
Your energy is affecting your wireless communications.
Okay, I will yield.
Empress, are you there?
We love you, Empress. We're with you.
We do love you. Yeah.
We love you, Empress. We here with you.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate you all. I thank you all for your contributions. I just want to say we're all learning at different capacities, and I would like for us all to keep that in mind, because even when we spaz out, there's something to be learned, because there's another spazzer outer who's being silent this time, but they may be learning from getting the correction, and I'm learning. I just learned from the, not correction, but what Phoenix shared. I learned from that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't spaz out today, but I got it in me. So I'm just saying, we got to take time with ourselves and each other, because we're not all going to grow and evolve at the same time and at the same capacity and degree. So thank you all. I love you. I appreciate you all, like the Moors, the alive.
Yes, indeed.
I got it for the living.
Rise of the Moors.
Indeed. Thank you, Empress. Indeed.
At least we know who will fight for us. We'll all fight for each other, but that passion's needed sometimes. But just don't let them have it. Just don't let them have it. They need that energy to live. Need that to live, and we don't need to give that to them. But one day that passion is gonna be needed. You just gotta pity them, love them in the way you pity them, where you feel sorry for them, feel bad for them, because you know their outcome.
I don't, though, because I honestly, there are some of us, the Moors, me in particular, and I'm only going to out myself to make this point. There are days that I don't feel like being alive. There are times that I feel like unaliving myself. So giving to the others, I don't got it. But I have it for this Congressional Assembly, and I honor, and I promise I will do my best to stay in order and all that jazz. But sometimes we don't have it. So I can't pour out of an empty cup. And so I have to build in me, and I have to love on me and give me all that I have, because it's few and far between. I don't have to give to others yet. But in the meantime, in between time, I honor the Congressional Assembly. I honor all the Moors. I yield.
Islam, Empress.
Let me just say this, Empress. Thank you for exposing the vulnerability that we all have. At some point in different places on the timeline, we've had those vulnerabilities, or having them. Some are having them, and some will have them in the future. Yes, save yourself first. Your energy goes to you first, because you can't help anyone else until you help yourself first. And we've always stated that, Moors. It's about you first, because even in the Biblios, it says to the Jew first and also to the Greek. So we give it to ourselves first, and not that we're claiming that Jew status. We're actually the sovereigns, which is the highest status. But my point being, just like we stated in our last Congressional Assembly, when you don't know what to do or you don't have anything left for anyone else, just stand still and see the salvation of the law. The law being natural law, spiritual law, universal law, emotional law, all law. Stand still and see it. Her. Not it. Her. Islam.
Islam. I just wanted to add that pitying is not giving love to anyone. It's just remembering where someone is compared to where you are. Pitying someone is actually not the opposite, not giving them love.
Yeah.
It's just that wavelength that Phoenix was talking about, knowing which side of the spectrum to be on. You know, that's more where I was coming from. But I wasn't trying to denounce or
Empress, you're
anyone's
fine.
feelings.
You're fine. You're doing fine. You're fine. You're fine. We're just sharing. You're fine. You're fine. We honor your impartation to us, Islam, and it is absolutely in order in all ways. So no apology necessary for that. Justice Atiba, I believe you were going to make a statement as well.
Yes, Islam, Empress, salute, love to you, and all of us who are speaking and bearing their souls with one another, for one another. I just want to thank you, Empress, because you are the strength that we are drawing from. You are teaching us how to stand in the face of all these different adversities that's coming up against us that we never faced before. Well, we faced them in different manners, but facing them as we are today is a whole new way. You are teaching us the 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's our strength. It is not our weakness. I am learning how to play back my ego, easing out good. And I'm learning how to not let the ego get in front of me and ruin everything that I'm thinking, feeling, and desiring. Because I have had experiences in life where when the ego gets out there in front of me, I don't care who it is or what it is, it's destroyed. But I have a person that I not only hear her, I feel her, because she's preaching or she's bringing forward all truth in all manners. And as we're all on a learning curve. We're doing things that we didn't even know existed before this point in time. And if we stand and stay true to the principles that are laid out before us on a regular basis, we will all be okay. It's not a weakness. It's really a strength. Once you learn how to draw into it, to embrace it, to make it your own, to make it part and partial to your life's work. And that's what we're doing. As we grow, we can grow our seeds. We can grow our kinship. We can grow our families. But we have to grow first. And if we allow negativity to stunt that growth, negativity will proceed, and we will proceed to fail if we allow negativity, like the ego, to get in front of us and dismantle all that we're talking about, all that we're thinking about, all that we're hoping for, all that we desire. So we need to always look to our
Nobility, where did you go? We can't hear you, Nobility. Where are you, Justice Atiba?
Oh, it just just cut out on me. We are not weak. We are strong by every definition. And together we are just that much stronger. We are not that much weaker. Empress Light, I salute you. Your strength is beyond phenomenal. And every time you beat back one of those negative images that come into our voice, into our ear, into our mind, you beat it back. You're teaching us how to beat those same energies back. And that's just preparing us for other battles that will come. Don't think for a second that the other battles ain't coming. So we have to fortify ourselves to be strong in the face of all adversity. I salute you. I pray you. I love you. God bless one and all. Islam.
Thank you, Billy. Ashe, indeed. And Justice Atiba, you know the love is sent right back to you exponentially. Indeed.
Islam.
Islam.
Bay, and I have, I'll make this brief, okay? I need to make, just announcement. First, we are carrying out the orders. So tomorrow, the Department of Justice and the Department of War, which actually is just the Department of Law Enforcement. A long time ago, in a place over here, they told the policeman to take a shot. The policeman said, no, we're not going to do that. After that happened, they formed a union. This union now is, I don't want to say army, but something like that. Now, we have a roster of lists, or a roster.
No means no, bitches and hoes, no conveyance. The slave revolt outcome not going to change. Ha!
We have a roster of duties that are going on, and the first, I'll make this brief. It'll be carried out by two different organizations that are tied to us. One is the Coliseums Restoring Empirical Wealth. The second is the Midtown Sagamores of the Empire State. I will make these reports to you, and as we carry out these duties, I will film them and post them on Facebook, and that is my duty. And even if I get knocked up, someone else is in place. We place generals so that if something happens to somebody, somebody else goes on. To the empresses that are doing this, know this. This is war. Now, these people are going to try different things. If you need help and love and stuff, remember, there's going to be times when it seems diminished. But the light of the Spirit is within you. You are the warrior to make the reality of our vast empire come back into the forefront. My name is Tonis Alajabe. I am dedicated to this, even to the eradication of the arm, leg, arm, head of me, which is all
Islam.
which I surrender to Islam, and thank you all.
Yeah. So, Justice Tonis, first I want to thank you, and there are those in the chat that are thanking you as well for what you stated. It is a very beautiful energy and a beautiful place that energy is coming from within you. We honor your office. We affirm your office. We affirm the offices that all Moors hold and govern, all of them. With regard to the War Department, war does mean confusion, so I know, this is what I know about the War Department, that it is there to stop the confusion and to maintain the peace. And for that we are grateful. Because we are not at war, we're at peace, and sometimes it takes the strength to keep the peace. Yeah.
May I interject?
Islam, just one moment, it's freedom. Justice Tonis, were you completing with what you were stating?
Yeah, all I'm doing is enforcing the laws that you told us to do. You are the matriarchs. You said go get them. We're doing that. When it's over, we'll go back to normal. Whatever you say, we're following your orders. Thank you, General. Islam.
So let me make this statement about that. Let your spirit lead you first, and then the things that we state on the public record, those are peace officer moves. Those are peace officer mandates and commands that come from the entire body.
Yeah.
The entire body. I don't send any commands to Moors. First of all, you can't, like we've always stated, you cannot tell sovereigns what to do. We can stand together, though, and speak together like we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is for all of us. Like we're doing right now. Let me tell you something. I've got goosebumps right now just at the unity that's flowing through like water among us right now.
Islam.
Yes, indeed. And that can only come from peaceful spirits, connected and bonded together in the spirit. Empress Freedom.
Yes, yes. Ashe, Islam, and
Indeed.
wow. This is definitely a heated conversation that touches on so many levels, And I wasn't going to say anything, but my spirit was really moved by just some thoughts and listening to what some of the Empress was saying, especially about sometimes not wanting to be here. And as a counselor, of course, that's the most important thing that I heard on this call. And if that Empress is still listening, you're always welcome to contact me. And it's not a shameless plug for my business or anything like that. It's just I've been there. And I was thinking, about how when I did my first book, I was doing some research, and I found out that our cells house memories. And not only memories from ourselves, but from our ancestors. And so when our cells have that knowledge of everything that our ancestors have experienced on this land, it, for some of us, and sometimes even the best of us who have worked on our spiritual self, it can bring us to a place where we find that there's still some healing that needs to be done, And there are times when things are said where it touches our pain, But that pain is already there when we can think of it as we are all one. We have ancestors, we have DNA, we have our own experiences in this real life, in this real time. I myself, can give stories of things that have happened to me because of the color of my skin. You know what I mean? And it's just some, like I said, everyone here has spoke so eloquently and passionately, and sometimes this is a very healthy thing that we're doing and needs to be done in a different form, or maybe created for this purpose, in a more private environment. But it's necessary for us to look where we are. It's necessary for us to continue working on ourselves. It's necessary for us to remember that this movement is very spiritual in its nature, and we have to look at all the aspects of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And in there, spirituality is not listed, but that's just the basic fundamental part of who we are. And so we have to tap into that in everything we do. A lot of times we get so focused on the paperwork and the processes that we might not always focus on who we are being, in each and every moment. It's not true that the darkness is bad and the light is good. It's all about experiencing. And the more stronger we become, and we can measure our growth in those experiences and our becoming by how we respond, to circumstances and how we heal. And when we have reactions, then we can say, oh, there's something there for me to look at. There's something there for me to heal. And you might not even be able to pinpoint it particularly, But it's just a generational thing, and it's a healing thing. In essence, that's why we're all here, because we've had enough.
Indeed.
We've had too much. And we're here for our freedom. We want that freedom. We're fighting for that freedom, each and every one of us. So, I commend everybody for being here, but just remember, it's not the only work. It's part of the work is the paperwork and the processes, but we should always be continually growing, nurturing our spirit, and just listening, to our inner selves and healing. So again, like I said, Empress Light has read a couple of my books, and so she knows, where I'm coming from, but the rest of you may not. So wherever you are, honor that. Don't be afraid to look inside to see what is there, because it's only by looking at it. And, like the scripture says, examine every thought and bring it under subjection to the Holy Spirit. And so what that really can mean to us today is to examine every thought that we have, because our thoughts provoke and create or bring forth feelings that are within us. So when we examine every thought, and as Scripture says, bring it under the healing or subjection of the Holy Spirit, that's when we're allowing the healing to take place. I'm having this thought, it's provoking emotions, and so now I'm going to submit it, and ask for help, in whatever way that makes sense for you to do, where you are today, or if you want to grow into knowing, ways, different ways that you can heal. But just be with that thought. Be with that feeling. Don't be afraid of it. If you're angry, be with that thought. Be with that feeling. Let a cry. Do what you have to do. Honor that feeling. And the more you do that, it's going to dissipate. And the more you continue to come here and empower yourself, you're going to get stronger on the right hand, and on the left hand, where we're still becoming aware of our weaknesses. And our weaknesses are really our strengths, but it's a process, So when we are weak, what I'm saying, we become stronger. And our weakness, because in our weakness we can say, hey, I realize that there's something in me, something in me that is crying out for healing. And I'm here to help that something within me heal. And in that humility, and in that cry for help, whether you want to say the ancestors, the spirit, your inner self, is there to help you move past those pains and to help you heal. And we are here for each other. I'm here for anyone in that way, And it's an ongoing process, but we have to remember the whole self. The spiritual self, the emotional self, the physical self, the financial self, and we're all more than just one aspect. And so this call and the incidents and the comments and the emotions are just an opportunity to let us know that those are probably some things that we can all reflect on still, even as we get closer into what we are doing, because emotions will be provoked in your individual lives as you continue to do this paperwork, as some people are experiencing, already, from paperwork in different ways. We are confronted with fear before we do stuff. We study, we make peace with what we were afraid of when we gain more knowledge. We have compassion for others who are being tested, and all that. With that, I concede. Anyways, I'm free now, and you can always contact me or talk to me. Just reach out.
Islam, thank you, Empress Freedom, for that. Empress Denorsha put something really key in the chat, and I won't read the whole thing, but she's going to honor what she's feeling while the feeling is transitioning through. That's important, that we don't develop a love affair with the feeling and want to hold and just keep and bathe and coddle the feeling. We want to let that thing go through.
Yes.
Yep. Yes, we see you. Yes, you're here.
Yes.
No. Because
when you
we got
bring it,
things
yeah,
to
and when
do.
you bring it, let's say when you bring it under subjection and you stare at it, it is going to dissipate.
Yeah.
It's going to lose its power.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So.
Islam nobility.
Yes. As I'm saying here, listen to everybody. I just have to share this one last thing. And today I was actually tested on my with my feelings and my ego with somebody from off the side, because I remember from the Biblical Helios text when Jesus was approached on the wall by the devil to be tempted. I too today was tempted to get away from the straight path today, and like how you just said, you just let it pass. Like I just looked at it, and I didn't even respond. I just put in my head that love again. You know, the principles of what we uphold, and put that love in my mind, and I paid it no mind, and like you said, just went right on by. Just kept it moving. And I was so proud of myself at that moment, because I usually get sink in, like I go right into the emotion part. But today I didn't, and sometimes you have to pat yourself on the back when you have conquered something that you so used to going through. Like today, that's why I'm in this love mode. I love everybody, because no matter if you're doing evil to me, I know certain things, and I know the ancestors are interceding for me on the other side, for me to win. Just like every other more here, the ancestors is on the other side, succeeding for you to win. And you're gonna win every battle. You're gonna climb every mountain. You're gonna crush all enemies with just a little bit of silence. Silence crushes them, and they just wither away like a leaf in the wind. And also, I want to thank the Empress for her tears as well, because my matriarch, my mother, always taught me when you cry, when you shed your tears, it's the cleansing of the soul. Like my mission right here, I can't shed tears, so to hear her shedding her tears also gives me the strength to go even harder for the mothers. You know, it gives me the strength. Y'all have no idea. Just hearing y'all all giving me strength to keep going on in this mission. That's why I have no choice but to love every day. There's not one bit of hatred, because I know the real. The real is, why should I waste my time with things that don't really matter? And the things that do matter, I should be doing all my time in, and that's building a nation and uplifting humanity. That's what what I'm going through. Hopefully, everyone is hearing me and hearing that I love y'all, all the Moors, everybody. And I'm sending out this beam. I like to call it the beam out. I'm sending out the beam out to all Moors. I love you. Let's keep rising. Islam.
Islam. Indeed, nobility. We love you too. And we love all the Moors. Indeed. Empress Denorcia, we love you, Empress. Matriarch. Empress Malaya, Empress Angel, we Empress Freedom. Listen, we got this, y'all. It's already a wrap. There's a lot of love being going around right now in this Congressional Assembly, which is earthwide, by the way. So we're actually raising the frequency of the earth right now. Right now. Right now. I want to share a little something with you, a little process, if you will. I can't really call it a process. But because of what's been stated here, I did a little lab work and demonstrated this to myself a while back. Whenever you're feeling fear, let's say, for example, there may be a quote-unquote policy enforcer or a quote-unquote landlord or sheriff or someone acting as who is either you know in your spirit that a test is coming or you're being tested. Do this little demonstration for yourself. Close your eyes just for a second. Look at the fear that you're feeling, and then take that fear in your mind. Visualize removing the fear and putting love there for whoever it is that you might be having some fear about. And this is something you can do before they even come, no matter where they are. Picture them and then put love where the fear was. Take the fear, see yourself taking the fear out and putting love in for them. There is a strength that will come to you that you never knew you had. I did that very demonstration. I just stood right there in front of them. They were surrounding me, and I just closed my eyes really quickly. And the ancestor said, "Take the fear out and put love there." And I pictured that I loved, telling each one of them that I loved them. Now, I didn't tell them that while in the physical. I just said it in the spirit, and when I opened my eyes, they were standing there like meek children. Meek children, waiting for me to say something. Meek children. Yes, indeed. Empress Camellia said something very key there. She said that a compassion and overstanding, she said, understand, we use the word overstanding, comes over you. Yes. And you know what? They will sense it because this is spiritual first. One thing about those that we see as modern Europeans, when you work in the spirit realm and do that quick spirit work, when they're in uniforms and enacting offices, Empress Malaya, you just said it. I wrote it down on this piece of paper not 5 minutes ago. Perfect love casteth out all fear. All fear. No matter what you're feeling fear about, just close your eyes and just picture yourself removing the fear out and putting love in. And then think about that same either person or object or event. And the strength that comes with that's some of the strongest strength I've ever felt come from within me. Why? It's counterintuitive. It's not counterintuitive, it's counter to the programming. The programming wants all types of craziness to happen and chaos to happen, but they are your inheritance. And the inheritance is actually the office, not necessarily the actors, it's the office that you command. So, perfect love casts out all fear. And when you do that, you will know exactly what to do. No matter what, the words will come out like they do when God speaks, because you are God. Yes, you become an unstoppable force when you know you are not alone. Indeed. 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 Empress Malaya put something really good in the chat too. She said, in the event you can't see yourself doing that for them, picture replacing that fear with love for yourself until you can get to that point. Yes, indeed. 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 That's beautiful, Empress Malaya. Beautiful. Indeed. Justice Tonus, I believe you were going to.
Thank you, Empress. I just received a post that burning fiat is illegal, and I want to tell you about my 3-day fast. Over the next 3 days, I'm going to burn as much fiat as possible, thereby fasting from the BS. So have a great day. Thank you.
Islam, you know what? That just, every time I look at that video of us burning, of the fiat burning ceremony that we did, it just, there's no more programming, no more fear, none of that. None of that. When I look at that, I know what I was feeling at the time. I know what the ancestors told me, and fearless, fearless, fearless. So with that being stated, there is something about this bid, on to just another subject briefly here. There's something about, and it's still in connection with what we're doing, there's something about this bid bond, payment bond, performance bond process that the process keeps getting pushed back another day. I know why. But every time I try to finish that process, something else comes. And I know why. It's a good why. But the process must be finished. It must be finished. So what we'll do is we stated that we were going to do it this time. Let's push it one more time back to Sunday. It's a very powerful process, and it's going to put another stamp. It's very, very, very. It's going to be something special.
Islam,
Empress.
Well, I concur, and to also add unto that, what we're doing here is we're raising, like you stated, the vibration, but also alignment with love is a currency. It's a frequency. So with that stated, we're doing a loving bond, the loving payment bond, and a loving performance bond in that regard. And so that part. So we are exchanging and growing and building that part, because we know today is June 1st.
Yeah.
Right? 2023, right? And so on that note, I seen 11/11 on the 1st today, and so that was a double portal, and so we're doing exactly as we're supposed to do, which is talk about the love, because the love is the true platform, the true basis, the true foundation for all that we are doing and will continue to do, and that is grow. And so that's the bond, that part. That is the unbreakable bond that we have.
Yes, indeed.
Islam. So we're bonding in another way.
Indeed. We have moved into the Gemini of our astrological calendar.
And I am one as well, Islam.
So am I. Indeed. Who said that? So am I.
Malaya. Empress Malaya. My 36, I guess, trip around the moon was this past Sunday.
Oh,
happy solar return.
Solar return to all the Gemini.
Around the sun. All right, yeah.
That's an emotional sign. Geminis are they are emotional. They have an emotional energy. Passionate energy.
I like
That's a great word. That's much better. Thank you for that. Coming from the experts. Thank you. And so that might have something to do with what we're feeling and stating right now as well on this in this particular Congressional Assembly. Islam nobility.
Yes, I also was shown some angel numbers today too. It's 333, and that reads, the angel number 333 encourages to set plans into action and let your personal strength be the guide. To trust yourself and put thought into your choices.
Wow. Well, there it is. Trust ourselves.
Islam.
And trusting ourselves, that is a contract to trust ourselves. That's a contract with ourselves. Islam Empress.
I want to offer my services as we talk about Gemini season. I am an astrologer, and I would like to offer readings to all the Geminis in the Congressional Assembly and or any others who would like to take advantage during this Gemini season. My part of fortune is in Gemini at 29 degrees in the second house, which if anybody is unfamiliar, a little insight. The part of fortune is where opportunity meets favor. That's what the part of fortune represents in the natal chart. And mine is located in the second house, which rules Taurus, and is ruled by Venus. Venus and Taurus together. That's the house, but the sign is in Gemini. So in the subject of all things mental, the things that we think about, the things that we talk about, the things that we communicate, the things that we write down on paper or on pen, or pen or paper or things like that, that's where I thrive. That's where my expertise comes into play. That's why I mentioned the degree at which my part of fortune is, to give people insight just about just what that means to me and how that can help and relate to others. So if anybody is interested, just share your email with me and I would be happy to give you a reading.
Empress, may I ask, is there a fee for the reading?
Not at all. If you'd like to share the Delarium, I will be accepting. But also, I'm learning to give my gifts. It makes me feel good when I can share and I can give. I know that I'm going to get back. So, like, as I freely give, it just makes me feel better. And I said it on a whim because it's literally Gemini season. And my part of fortune is in Gemini. So, like, that's my lane.
Yeah. So, Empress, may I ask you, if you would please quote or just think in your spirit, and you don't have to do it now, but if you would please, I'm asking that you do charge Delarium so that the Moors can get used to using it, and also keep up with the amount that you receive, because there's going to be Delarium is developing. The system is being made accessible.
We're making space for it right now.
Yes. So please pay her for her services, her works. Delarium only.
Gratitude. With that being said, you mentioned the Delarium. You said when we send it through email,
that's an electronic fund transfer.
Yeah, you said it hits different in terms of our signature, because I have two. I have both. I have the plain Delarium that's unsigned, and then I have Delarium that I've been sending, like I sent Malaya, signed and unsigned Delarium. So when you said, you specifically mentioned earlier about sending Delarium via email and the signatures, I can't remember exactly what you said about it, though.
Yeah, they do need to be autographed by the heirs because that's the real deal right there. That's the real deal, the autographed Delarium.
I send both because whoever I'm sending it to, whatever more that I send, I'm sending it to, like, for example, Empress Noble Malaya and I have been working a lot together in terms of civics and doing law and all that jazz.
Yes.
So I shared Delarium blank with Malaya for herself, to use for herself.
Yes.
And also I shared my Delarium signed to her, like, as a gift offering, based on the work that we've been doing together to show my appreciation. So that's what I mean that I've been using both, like one to send for somebody to sign and use for themselves, but then also, mine that's signed and has my thumbprint on it.
That's brilliant, Empress. That is brilliant. That's brilliant. That's the word I use for that. That is brilliant.
Gratitude. I'll share you.
Today is also my consort's solar return as well. He's a Gemini, so you already know a Leo and a Gemini. You know what we deal with over here. A lot of passion, a lot of strength, and all of that. And so I want to send a shout out to him. He just got back from Costa Rica yesterday. He spent the time with his brothers and sisters at Costa Rica for their double birthday solar return celebrations. He and his brother's celebration are just a few days apart. And so I will do that, Empress Malaya. Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm excited for all the Geminis, and we should be honoring each other every month. We don't do that enough in this Congressional Assembly of honoring each month the solar returns, in terms of not each month but each sign as we move into the new cycles from Gemini to the sign that comes next, which I think is it Capricorn that comes after Gemini?
Islam is Cancer.
Cancer. I knew it was one of the CA something.
Capricorn is December.
Yeah. Cancer comes after Gemini, and then I think Leo is after that. And so
Leo, Virgo, Scorpio.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, indeed. So with that being stated, this was worth pushing the process back another day. This was definitely worth it, to hear the hearts of each other. And I got my tears in today too when Empress Denorcia was speaking. So I can definitely feel her on what she's saying. I know within me, I know that perfect love casts out all fear. And for me, that was the test that I needed, it was necessary for me to overcome, with the fear. And so when I first nationalized and I asked the ancestors, what do we do about fake policy enforcers and fake judges? And they showed me what they were really showing me is not to be afraid, because those offices are my inheritance, no matter who's in them. Those offices are our inheritance. They do as commanded, but we must command them. They won't know to do it unless they hear from their Lord and Savior. That's all of us. That is why those type of demonstrations are so important. Not everyone has to go through them. But those who go through those type demonstrations, there's a particular reason why you were chosen for that demonstration. And a lot of times it does have to do with your assignment is greater than fear. And it's far greater than that test. Far greater than that test and those types of tests. We're there already, Moors. We won already. All we're doing is walking that out. We're just manifesting the win. This is what the win looks like. It looks like this, and us having our own money, and it looks like this, and this, and this, and us having our own this and our own that, our own courts. That's what the win looks like. So all we're doing, we won already now. We're just manifesting that. How do I know we won already? All I have to do is look as far back into our history as possible, back beyond the pyramids, back to where our ancestors are doing interstellar travel. Way back since time immemorial, they've been going. We have been going from planet to planet, creating planets, making new territories and new lands and new heavens and new earths for us. And then I look into our future, and we did it again. We won again. We created new heaven and new earth again, which is what we've done at this point. We're just manifesting it. Now, when those that we previously feared look in our past and look in our future, they see the same thing. Even though they can't see in the spirit realm, they can see in the natural, in the physical, rather. They know when they're driving up and down the street and they pull up to a light and there's a pyramid right there that's disguised as a mountain of some kind. They already know that there it is. There they are again. So with that being stated, are there any other questions, comments, wisdom, anything of that nature?
Islam Empress, actually, yes. I'm nervous. I'm novice to this as I came from the temple and I want to redo everything. I already started the paperwork. I know I have to put it on Calamio, but after Calamio, I'm not sure exactly what to do. I wanted to know if there was any videos or something that you lead me to that I can directly go to find the information.
About
story.
So Calameo is a choice. You don't have to put it there. You can put it there or not. That's a choice as long as it's published somewhere. We prefer that they be published on platforms that don't require any exchange, other than our information, because our information belongs to us. That's the first thing that we send, is letting them know that our information belongs to us. However, with regard to where to send it, and this is for all Moors, any areas where correspondence is coming that is in the nature of debt or, debt, then those are the places you want to send your documentation. First, to just let them know that they're not dealing with their person that they created. They're dealing with a living person, which is the all caps, that you are the fiduciary for. Yes. You're the trustee, executor, minister, claimant, heir, entitled beneficiary. And you're the Article 3 court who's giving the commands about your person. So that's where you send it. Anywhere where you're having any tests where debt is concerned.
And, okay, I understand. I comprehend that and understand that. And do I do a book and page number for any of my documents?
So when you say book and page number, you're saying you're talking about taking it down to the quote unquote county and having them. So that is not necessary. Okay. What we do is we mail them notification.
Okay.
And keep the return receipt. And even if you don't get the return receipt, just keep the tracking number and any information about that tracking number in your records as the book and page receipt number.
Comprehend.
Okay. And hopefully you are familiar with our government mailing process, because we don't use fiat for that either.
I'm studying that as we speak, and I have bought the labeling to do so.
Yeah. And the same thing that we're doing with the mailing process, we're doing with everything else, is accessing our vast estate so that we don't have to do fiat for anything. We can do it a different way and access everything.
Now, one more question. Do I need to have a bank account open, like a credit union or something of that nature?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Nope. When you get to the point where you're doing any type of an exchange, you're going to need a printer more than anything.
Okay, I have that. And for my motor conveyance, I have a trust. I don't know how to actually utilize and enact the trust.
So with regard to conveyance, mode of conveyance, this is what we have been doing. While we're studying those things, and this is for all Moors to know, you stated that you have not yet necessarily done the full study on obtaining conveyance and things of that nature. While we're doing the study, we use public transportation and we demonstrate public transportation, because they're not supposed to be charging for public transportation, not at all. And so it's those types of demonstrations that come before the conveyance that will strengthen us for the conveyance demonstration. Okay? So every demonstration that we do is in preparation for our true, whatever it is we truly desire. For example, I've done many demonstrations. My ultimate desire is that our earth be heaven and earth at the same time for the heirs, who are all power, all authority, all wealth, all God. With wisdom, with peace, and with truth and justice and freedom. There are many demonstrations that are accessing that right now that are not necessary. Well, I can't say it's not that, because it is that. In other words, while you're doing the study, because you always want to demonstrate at the level of your overstanding, right?
Yes.
Okay. So as you're doing the study, and don't let the time factor be a thing. That work that energy out and put some peace energy and some patience energy in its place, so that you have peace while you're absorbing and remembering the information. because it's already yours. Every conveyance out there already belongs to us. Every one of them, every one, even the ones that others are quote unquote driving, because we're the state. But we must know how to access that competently and then secure it competently. And those are the processes that the ancestors are bringing, along with the spiritual growth that we're having, continuing to experience. Okay, so hopefully that assists in all that you see for yourself, your conveyance, any other things that you see for yourself. Always demonstrate at the level of your understanding. Keep your energy clear of things like ego and anger and depression and things. We're not saying that those feelings don't come. What we are saying is when you feel them, acknowledge them and then release them so that they can go where they're needed. Exactly. Because they're not needed where you are. You're God. You don't need that energy. There's some other out there who might need it. You know, I had to, and I've spoken about this before. The Leo, that sign has been known for ego energy. So I had to ask the ancestors to give me the wisdom to remove that and send it to where it's necessary, because some people need ego because they lack confidence. So go and help them. You know, there's other feelings and things and energies, rather. Energies is a better word. That we experience, that we can say, you know what, you've done your work here, you can go and go help somebody who needs it, because there's always a balance in the energies. And that's what we're here to do, is balance everything. And when I say we're here to balance, that's not a job, it's who we are.
Okay.
Islam.
Islam. Thank you. So as far as publishing, all I need to do is to do preferably a public free platform, and then after that just administer the man
to anyone that's attempting to have you claim a corpse and some debt.
Okay. Okay.
That's where you send your notifications to.
Okay. Thank you so kindly.
You're welcome, Empress. Thank you for all you're doing, because every demonstration just adds more power and authority and momentum.
My actual first demonstration, and this was before I even knew of doing name change and stuff like that, I removed my children from the indoctrination system back in 2018, and I was studying at that time on a publication called RV Bay.
Yeah.
Listening to Tajiri,
yeah.
Learning about the Christian Black codes.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and I let them know that they were not properly educating my children on history, and that they were teaching them they were slaves, and that they had overstepped their boundaries when it came to the treaties. And in less than 10 minutes, 15 minutes, my paperwork was done. And my children have never, I'm not under the guise of the school system, of the state, nothing.
Wow.
Okay,
Empress, you are to be applauded for that.
Thank you. And mind you, my daughter now is 19 years old, and she's a manager getting ready to be promoted to a supervisor in March. And she has a bank account, and she's in college, and she doesn't have a high school diploma because she was just taught for what I taught her.
Yes, indeed, indeed. You can issue a diploma to her.
Yes, that's what we were going to do, create one and stuff, but it wasn't that big a deal, because she was able to get into college, and actually the college at, what is the one, administrator? I'm sorry, I don't deal with that nature too much, told her that they actually prefer homeschool children than the ones that come from the school system because of the level of life knowledge and indoctrination that's done to them.
Yeah, indeed. Wow, amazing, Empress. That's a beautiful testament. And let me just throw this in there real quick. We love RV Bay Publications, and we absolutely love and honor our Grand Sheik Tajiri Bay.
Yes, and what made me do it is because a quote the Prophet has said, it doesn't matter whether, your IDs or your paperwork, it will fold right on you if you don't know who you are. And that's not who you are on paper, but who you are.
Yes, indeed.
You have to know you're standing on your square at all times.
Yes, indeed.
We need to educate our people like you're doing, on a regular basis, the way they did with the indoctrination system they gave us.
Yes, indeed. Amazing. So, Empress, do you have a curriculum for your children?
Honestly, I don't have a set curriculum. It's just pretty much whatever we feel like doing for the day. We're doing letters for my 6-year-old, numbers, or we're playing the piano, or my son,
Beautiful.
we're doing, his history or his math, or if we want to build something, do something craft, it just, I've learned to remove myself from the system. And in order to do that, I had to remove myself from a curriculum to an extent.
Because of the emotion and the strength and the determination that you brought to that process, of course it was going to work. Because you brought the sincerity and the love to the process. So of course it only took 10 minutes for it to work.
And my heart went there. I said my prayers, and I had already prayed on it beforehand. But I always knew as a child, I was always a different one in my family anyway. I always knew as a child that it was a corporation and not a country. I knew that things were fraudulent. And so it was great. It is great being the crazy person that's not crazy anymore.
Isn't that awesome? It is an awesome feeling not to, it's great to know that people don't see you as crazy anymore because they see that the work that we've done has absolutely unveiled and exposed the fraud.
Exactly. But I yield the floor, and thank you so much. My young one is calling me now.
Indeed, and we love to hear the air as well. Thank you. Islam Empress.
I'm sorry, I missed what she said after she said that she let them know they were teaching her children that they overstepped their boundaries and something else, and then she said something. You said you should be applauded for that. I missed that little segment there. What did she say she did? Do you remember?
My apologies, Isis. Islam. What I said was basically that, that they were overstepping, that they had overstepped their boundaries. I went into it more. I really said they had overstepped their boundaries and that I no longer found them fit to educate my children, and so they had asked me, do you have anything in mind as to what you were teaching them? So I told them they came before Columbus. I gave them the ISB's numbers, the math. And once I came with that, they just didn't want nothing more to do with me, And the main supervisor, because the secretary, when the receptionist or whatever, when she went to the back, she was like, I'll be right back. And I said, okay. And the supervisor, whoever she told, I don't even know if it was male or female because, like you have to turn the corner so you can see the person. All you saw was the eye. And that was it. And it happened to be in the winter time, so I had my fur coat on, and I had a $2 turban, the one that you get from the beauty store. And I didn't have a pin or anything of that nature, but I just went with my regalness and my children within their regalness. And because I know. My grandfather always told me history. He told me law that, I'm a great-granddaughter or great-great-granddaughter of a cacique in Puerto Rico, Borinquen, la hija de Borinquen. And,
Wow.
so I don't know how much of it is true, but I'm trying to find lineage, and do stuff of that nature. But I just know that I know this is mine.
Yes.
I know this is mine. There was a negotiation. Something went wrong. There was a hostile takeover, and we're going to hostilely take it over back peacefully.
Islam, thank you for sharing. I needed to hear that because that's a decision I'm going through now with my heiresses and my heir. And I didn't know how I was going to swing that. So thank you for
it. Decision, but it is in alignment with it is a phenomenal decision. And a lot of so-called homegirls told me that I was crazy. They were like, "Oh, I can't do it." If you cannot deal with your children all day, then that means you really can't tolerate yourself. Because no matter who, whether the children all come from one father or they come from individual fathers, they all have you in them.
Yes.
You understand? And you are not mother if you cannot maintain you.
Yes.
That's
and when
so
you choose
true.
your children, you are choosing yourself. When you choose yourself, you are choosing your children because y'all are one.
Indeed.
Thank you. I needed to hear that. It helps me with the decision I recently just made. I took a big stand, and I was afraid to do it, but I did it. That just encouraged me and empowered me. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. I'm a single mom from New York Territory. I have 4 children, grandmother of 2. I got the GD at 16. We're all just, we're all in this together. I have no special, skills outside of homemaking stuff that I know how to do and a little bit of exterminating.
There it is.
Thank you so much.
It's just a belief in me and knowing that my ancestors and my guides and we are one and everything is us. That's it.
Yes.
Wow.
Well,
Thank
you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for that, Empresses. I really appreciate that we all do in alignment with that. And as we adjourn until Sunday, I want to show you really quickly, Morris, just how amazing this is our truth right here. Let me just show you. When I first woke up and I just Googled Moors and Moorish Moors and Moorish science and Moorish nationality. I just picked a random term about us. When I first woke up, there were only 3 results that came up on Google about Moors, Moorish science, Moors, and things like that. Those same 3 results came up. One of them was the Southern, quote unquote, Southern Poverty Law, the Southern Poverty Law Center, stating that Moors are not real, and not that they're not real, but that they're not accepted in their society or whatever they do. That piece right there. Say that again, Empress. What did you say?
Forgive me. I said a rhetoric blog.
That's what that. And
inflammatory rhetoric blog.
Yeah. And the other was RV Bay, and then there was another Moorish article or something that was there. That's why I'm so grateful for RV Bay publications, because they were there when most of us were snoring, in the sleep cycle, but getting ready to wake up, But I said that to say this. Today, when you Google I just Googled Moor nationality. There's more stuff that comes up about the Moors. And it doesn't, to me, I'm like this, it doesn't all have to be shining, whatever. But there's more good than there is fictitious stories by fictions. But there's so much that comes up about Moors now, page after page after page after page after page after page. And let me see. Here it says, right here at the top, this is what I want to magnify and make known here. When I put in Moorish nationality, look how many results came up. Not just 3, but over 1.6 million results just for Moor nationality.
Wow.
Listen, we have made so much progress. Because I even said that in around 2018, somewhere around there in one of our congressional assemblies, I remember saying, I'll be glad when more stuff pops up on Google about the Moors, because there are Moors looking for stuff, not knowing that you can put in Moor nationality, you can put in Moorish American consulate, and that will bring up, let's see, how many results? 215,000 when there were none before. None before, just for the Moorish American consulate. 215,000. And if you change that a little bit and put something else there, Moorish, we did Moor nationality before. Let's do Moorish nationality. That brings up 302,000 results on Google. Now, we know Google is not the be-all, end-all, but to me it was an indicator when I first woke up and couldn't find anything, hardly, about Moorish nationality. Look how far we've come, and it's only been 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 26 years. Wow. In six years.
And in less than 1 minute for each of these results.
Yes.
I don't know if you caught it, Empress Light, but one of the when you search Moor nationality, one of the links said Moors know the law.
Yes. But you know what, Empress? We all had contributed to that. We all documents. Now we can put Moorish documents up in here. Let's see how many results come up for Moorish documents. Moorish document. 18 million. 18 million.
In 6 years?
In 6
years.
But it's over. It's a wrap. Let me show this. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Let me show this.
I'm talking now. They are finished. 6 years, 18 million results in 43 seconds.
Yes, indeed.
Wow.
Yes, indeed.
And here I was thinking we're not gaining that much traction yet. But I said we might be few, but we're mighty. We're not few though.
No, we just have to know what to look for, what to put in. And then also, empresses and nobles, listen, and oh my word, if each one of us just did 1 2-second video showing a document and put Moorish something, whatever the document is about, and uploaded that or published it on, like the Empress was saying, Calameo or Script-D or, Facebook, YouTube, wherever, any document hubs, placing it on the public record. And make no mistake about it, when you send notification to those inferior courts, they publish it too. We don't always see it. It might be down in the 18,299,999th result, but they have to publish it because the public record belongs to the people. You see. And then
on to that.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, listen to Empress Angel. She done put a ton of stuff out there.
That part.
Probably 30 million of these is your results.
Oh, gratitude.
Indeed, Empress. Indeed. And we are so grateful. We're so grateful. Look at what all comes up. Benefits of claiming Moorish nationality, Moorish American travel document. It has a citizenship application. I don't know what that is, but let's keep going. Certificate of Moorish Listen, Moorish American in court, Moorish American history, how to become a Moorish. They're not all competent, but you know what? They're there. It's a start. The Spirit will do the rest. So then I went to YouTube and did this same. I looked up a bunch of different terms, but sometimes I just put in Moorish and see how many videos come up about Moorish, because not very many came up in 2017 and 2018. But then when I do it, it's a lot of mainstream stuff coming up too. Moors Rising. This is from the TV show Vice season 3. They talked about the Moors there. How to understand this Home Team History channel right here. That is a really good mainstream channel about Moors. Okay. This one right here, How to Understand the Moors. That's a great one to send, those who have very little information about the Moors. How to Understand the Moors. This is a great channel for that. And so we've looked at a few of their things, and again, we're not endorsing them. We're just suggesting, okay? Because there will be some things that will be said that may or may not. But look at how many videos come up about Moors. Look, Moors in their fezzes. And this YouTube is really, really slow. Just a lot about the Moors. And again, all of it may not be, singing the praises, but you know what? They were trying to say Moors were not even real at first. They were there's no such thing as Moors. Yes, there is. Look at all these videos and look at all of this stuff. And half the videos are by the foreign, hybrids and carrying on, But there's a lot of other good information about the Moors, So we have there's thousands and thousands and thousands of videos about the Moors, So I'm just excited for us that we have come this far so quickly. So we would encourage everyone, all Moors, to go ahead and publish and put out there. Go on YouTube and do a couple of short videos reading a Moorish document. Because, see, that Moors is what a takeover looks like. Boop, boop. We got it.
Peacefully.
Peacefully without any guns. We didn't need a militia to do that.
In love.
Mm-hmm. We did it, and guess what? We're still here. And growing, and growing, and growing. Now, how long do you think it's going to take before our money is everywhere? Because it's already everywhere. But there's still that one little something there where we can just take it and go down the street and get and do and be. That's where we're going. We cannot be denied, I'm telling you. We cannot. It's our land. It's our land. So, with that being stated, great, grand, mighty Congress of Moors, all powerful. Let me sing my praises. All powerful, almighty, all knowing, omniscient, omnipotent. What was that word, Empress Aisha? Empress Aisha had a word. I can't remember what the word was it was omnific? Omnific. Yes. I knew it was something like that. Omnific, yes. to all the Moors. Islam Empress, I yield the floor.
Oh, Islam. I just wanted to add another location that we can look. Pacer. Pacer is a location where all the actors, put their so-called law stuff. But when we put our paperwork in, at our venues, that's where they put it as well. And when going to my inferior court at Eastern District over here at New York, I asked recently, I said, where can I go and see my work? I want to see my work. And she said, Pacer. So I gotta go and see that my work that's out there. And I'm sure a lot more is out there on that, because anytime we notify them, they scan it.
Yes.
And they put it on their platform.
Yes, those are our systems, but we just had to fill them with stuff.
We do. Yes, we do.
Yes, we notify. And you already know King County Superior Court. And listen, we're the court. Period. So that is how we're accepting all of our systems, is we speak to them en masse. En masse. That's a French word. En, E-N, en masse. M-A-S-S-E. We speak to our systems en masse. That's why I said every single demonstration is powerful. Every single demonstration counts. Every document that's sent, every mailing that goes out, everything that goes out on the public record, every spell, everything counts. Counts. All of it counts. The public record is ours. The courts are ours. The structures and the buildings are ours. The conveyances are ours. All of it is ours. All we have to do is keep doing what we're doing, keep speaking. See, some just because some don't see these results because nobody shows it to them. Some don't know how to access these results. 18 million results. And we could even do images or news or shopping or whatever. All of this we're going to continue to overtake. All of this. We're here for all of this. Everything that has to do with us. That is how you take and access your estate peacefully. And see, we're doing the work, we're doing the demonstrations, but when we actually stop a minute and look around and realize that we were all doing it together. And then it's done already. Bing. That's how you overtake all that is yours. In the Biblios, it says that we will recover all. We will recover all. And that's what we're doing. And guess how recovery happens? Documentation and words and speaking from a very powerful place of authority that we are. We are the place and we are the who that does that. So we are all to be congratulated. We are all to take a moment and enjoy and breathe and take in that the estate is ours. There's the proof. There's more proof. There's way more than that. And some will say, Google is not proof. Well, it is if it wasn't proof before. Because before there was nothing there but just a few things. Look how fast. Look how fast. How quickly when the law showed up. Boom. Flip. How long do you think it's going to take? Not long at all. We're there already. So with that being stated, this is why the praise, the worship, the glory keeps coming out of my mouth about us all. With that being stated, is there anything further from this great, grand, mighty, all-powerful authority that is this Congress?
Islam. Will you pass me your baton, please? I'd like to praise upon you.
Islam Empress, I yield the floor.
I would like to say, and Malaya be my witness, that I have spoken about you in your absence, and I have spoken about your character specifically as it pertains to a Leo, because again, I'm an astrologer, and so I don't know how to not talk astrology talk. Like it finds its way into all of my conversations, all communications rather. It finds all of my communications. So I was speaking to Malaya about the Moors and the Congress and the nobles and all the people that we engage with or that we interact with and that we learn from or share with and fellowship with. And I was speaking specifically about comparing and contrasting, not bigging nobody up and putting nobody down, but just comparing and contrasting and using that to illustrate how different degrees show up in people, like how signs show up in people, how planets show up in people, how degrees show up in people. And I used you as an illustration to illustrate a righteous glow from the sun, because like people need the shade because the sun can burn sometimes. The sun can get hot. We would not know what shade was, like if there was, like if we didn't need to go there to seek refuge from the sun. But all that to say, this is that I was sharing with Malaya that like I don't get that vibe from you. I don't get burnt out, and you don't come across. And I'm making it a note to piggyback off what you said earlier about how you had to check yourself, and forgive me if those weren't the words, but you had to do the shadow work yourself and make manifest, bring it into this 3D, what you want to be and how you want to journey through this 3D. And it shows because I literally made it a point to speak about you, and you were nowhere around to hear the compliments. But I literally was saying that I very much value that although you are the sun, and I'm referring to Leo, although the sun is the Leo, the sun, the lion, you don't come off aggressive, or at least in the way that like feels like the lion about to come eat somebody's head off. Like that could be for the others, the Albions, but like that you don't come across that way in the Congressional assemblies, and you are the way you speak, the way that you share, the way that you articulate yourself, and the openness, the inclusivity that I find when I'm in these congressional assemblies are bar none. They're top notch and they're top tier, and I very much am very receptive to it because it's easy to learn from. It's easy to take in the information. It's easy to digest because you're caring and you're careful, you're considerate, and you're thorough, and you're inclusive, and you're patient. And those are not things that I personally have experienced enlarged by Leos. So that's why I made it a point to speak on it and to compliment you for that and to praise you for that, because you very much are a cool son. Like even though that's contradictory, because the sun's hot, but. You're very cool in your reception. Like you don't come across so piped up that like people can't talk to you or people can't pull up to you. Your reception is warm. It's so warm and it's so inclusive and so sharing. Like we were talking about, like how you repeatedly say, "Is there anything else from this beautiful body, this congressional body?" Like you ask for others' input and insight. And that's also something that's not necessarily indicative of a Leo. The sun, everything revolves around the sun, or at least that I feel like in the ego, in the way that the ego plays out with people, the human, that's the way, like, it's very self-centered and like revolve around me, but you don't come across that way. Your delivery is not that way. All the more reasons why I feel that receptive to your contributions. I wanted to share that with you, that like I very much appreciate how warm you are. I appreciate how giving you are and how patient you are, how calm your spirit is, and how you don't get out of pocket. And I appreciate, and not that you don't have the right, and don't you can't reserve that right on any given day. But I very much value and appreciate your reception. I appreciate that you give us a round table to pull up to.
Yeah.
And there's no big I's and little U's. It's empowering, so much so that we sat and praised you for no less than 15 to 20 minutes, just trading stories about how dope we think you are. And I would, like I said, my contribution was tying it to, to astrology and the degrees, and I was explaining like the degrees of Leo and how I don't know your degree, but like it's a cool one, I know that. And so I appreciate you for your contribution, because you could come off different. You spoke about earlier about like different, what is it called? You said some people need to be piped up. Some people need to be, you used the word militant. And although you were in the military too, and you come off like Sergeant, listen to me. You know what I mean? So, and that's a gift and a talent, because I have not seen that from many Leos. I'm not a fan of Leos. I'm an Aquarius moon. I'm in the opposite. Like I usually am eclipsed by the sun, and yet I feel comfortable in your presence. I feel included in your presence, and I'm 180 degrees from you. You know what I mean? And so for you to reach me 180 degrees away and make me feel warmer and receptive, and like I got a seat at the table, makes me feel amazing. And so I appreciate and I bless you up, and I value you so much for that. And I look forward to these meetings every week, because it's empowering. It empowers me and it fills me up. It pours into me. You pour out so freely and so fully, and you expose so much. And that's another thing about the Leo. It exposes what wasn't seen, what wasn't exposed. You expose it, and you do it with such fervor and like such grace. And I don't know if it takes effort from you or not, but it looks graceful and it's so receptive, and I love it so much. And you teach me so much. Just even coming here, I learn about astrology. Just watching you and your nature, it teaches me about degrees. And so I bless you and I thank you for like your contribution, because without you here, I don't know where we would be. We would still like be doing stuff, but it wouldn't hit the way it hits like now. So there's that. I yield.
Islam, I approve everything she says. I approve every word, every breath. Islam.
Islam.
Every word.
Islam.
Empress, I want to say to you that's divine guidance that you give to us every week. I fully appreciate it. And I want you to know that even though it sounds like I'm mean, in enforcement, there's a book that says that you go to your enemy in a soft tone and you tell them where they're messed up. That's what I do. When they say no, that's when I bring in the war guys. So I just want you to know that's the approach we take. It's out of love. We tell them you're violating the law. Please leave.
Yeah.
They don't.
Hey, wait a minute. It's Angel Bay's job to put her head up Pauline's ass. Grand failure, Negroes. Indeed, grand failure, Negroes. Indeed, grand failure. Angel Bay's the one that puts her head up Pauline's ass. Angel Bay's the one. Hey, how come Pauline hasn't manifested that Range Rover?
Take your time, man.
She hasn't manifested or secured that Range Rover. Neither has Angel Bay. What's up with that?
She's secured.
Grand failure indeed. Grand failure.
We got him. Hating.
Thank you for your effort. It is monumental. If I had an award, you get it. And it is. Here is your reward. Thank you for guiding us in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and all the blessings of the universe are now issued forth from us to you.
Islam, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Each and every one of you, thank you so much.
No, we thank you. This is why I keep calling you our fearless leader, and I know you say that. we're all leaders and we are, but you have a way of leading and guiding without making it feel like, and it's like in a motherly way, but it's in an equal way. So it's what everyone's been saying, and you taught me a lesson in one meeting that my parents have been trying to teach me all my life, you know, because I had my moment on that very first meeting dealing with those trolls. And the way you came on, you didn't make me feel ashamed or embarrassed. And I immediately took to what you were saying, and I've been working on that ever since. You don't even know the impact you had on me.
Thank you, Empress. It's an honor. You all are the nobility. You're the nobility. Everybody's supposed to be serving like that. Everybody.
They're not, though. They're not,
You
though.
know. Thank you so much for that. My heart is full. The energy, I have goosebumps because the energy is so pure. And it is an honor. It's a joy. This is what I was sent for this, to be with, for us to be together. So it's an absolute honor. Thank you so much, Empress. Thank you so much. I'm merely reflecting you all. That's it. Just reflecting the energy that comes. I'm reflecting you all in all your perfect, all powerful, almighty, all glorious glory. I'm just reflecting Islam.
We are trying to reflect you. Thank you.
Thank you, Islam. Thank you, Empresses. And you know what? I want to specifically thank the matriarchs too, because they kept saying we couldn't get along, but we are rocking the get along. Okay? The unity, we got it. We got that. We're going to keep it and we're going to blast it even more so. Indeed.
Islam,
Empress.
even like earlier, in the Congressional Assembly, it didn't go as planned, I would imagine, but a source of frustration from the earlier part of the Congressional Assembly literally took a shift throughout this talk, and it's been a flood of love ever since. And
it has.
That is even proof of just like the alchemy, the magic in this book.
Yes. So we want to thank Justice Akil for his anger that he showed, or not anger, but just Justice Akil. Thank you. His passion. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
We're gonna need that, and that's gonna come so in handy in due time. But yes, all of that is needed.
There's ebb and flow in everything. Not all of us up at the same time, and not saying that he was down. I'm just because that's how I asked myself. I'm saying that like we're all going to be, moving at different paces.
Yeah.
We'll still it's all still going to come together. Source is still provided for us all. Like there's plenty for us all.
For sure. And we have been flooded by love.
Indeed.
Flood of nothing but pure love.
Yes. Yes. That is Mami Wata. Mami Wata.
Mami Wata.
Yeah. Indeed. Thank you all so much. Let's keep going. Let's keep doing this. We got this. It's already a wrap. We got this. So we will adjourn, and then we'll meet again on Sunday at our regular time at 6 p.m. Eastern. May your way be easy. May all that you touch turn to gold. Islam, peace and grand rising to the heirs. Islam.
Peace and grand rising.
Thank you.
Peace and grand rising, Moors.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Islam,
peace and grand rising.
Peace and love. Islam, Moors.
Islam, peace and love, Moors.
Much peace and love.
Peace and love.